So, it's +1 now. My God almighty, the weather is jumping around again. I hope it doesn't bother the horses. You get such swings, plus, and well, the swing would be with the wind chill factor about 25 degrees in the last 3 days, which is remarkable and ridiculous. And hopefully it doesn't play a role. I got some horrible news. Most of you know, many of you are in contact with some of our trainers, texting, email, whatever. Andrew Harris is a pretty private person, but many of you that know him know that since, geez, I believe it's been a long time. I'm going to say 2015, maybe earlier. His wife, Amanda, just one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet, was diagnosed with cancer, and she had battled and I saw her last year. I thought she looked great, and then somebody told me that she had, again, the cancer had come back, and unfortunately this time it got her. And Amanda, just a beautiful woman, nice person, 2 kids, her and Andrew, and unfortunately on Friday she passed away. So obviously I'd reached out to Andrew and said, you know, no words are going to fix what happened, but if there's anything I can do, please let me know. And I feel terrible for you and your children. Andrew's a good guy, you know, and we're in a business, so this is a business relationship. But I've known Andrew for a very long time. He's from Ontario. I know his brother Jay, his father Jack very well. Just so sad. So anyway, I thought I would pass that on to anybody that knows Andrew that maybe didn't know his wife Amanda had passed away on Friday. So, some bad news, but, you know, you hear things like that. Obviously, Amy knew Amanda, not real well, but enough to speak to her on the phone or speak to her on Facebook, and they had talked back and forth quite a bit, and Amy was pretty shook up. Obviously, they're very similar ages. Amanda had 2 kids. Amy has 3. We have 3, so it hit home, and it was tough to take, and I feel terrible for Andrew, and have no idea how difficult it's going to be for one, for him raising his kids, and 2, the kids growing up without a mother, at least their mother. So not much you can say other than obviously condolences from the stable, certainly myself, my wife, and all our kids. So moving on, we'll start with the smaller stables now. Andrew Harris won the open trot with Elysium Lindy on Friday night. Elysium Lindy technically isn't a stable horse. It's not technically. He's not. He's owned by Paul Ganji, who was one of the major owners in Swandray the Giant at 2. And we didn't have much luck with Elysium Lindy. We gave Elysium Lindy to Carmen Asiello. He didn't have any luck with Elysium Lindy. We sent the horse down to Andrew, whether it's the racing or his program or whatnot. Obviously, he's had a lot of luck. I think this is 3rd or 4th win in 5 or 6 starts. So glad for Paul, and obviously glad for Andrew. He is doing well. For those of you wondering, Cruising in Style is turned out. I'm going to put him on my turned out list. Cruising in Style is turned out for the next, you see, went out 3 weeks ago. We'll give him a good 8 weeks. Cruising. And he deserved it. Him and West 52nd were tired. Obviously, we spoke about it earlier. We had to turn out, yes, he had a very minor injury to his right hind leg. Not a big deal, but I kind of felt bad afterwards, you know, wondering and asking myself, did we ask for too much? I didn't think we did, and when I look at the way White Tiger has been racing, I didn't think he had as tough a year as anybody, and he's as sharp now as he's ever been. I really just wanted to give them till the end of March, to be honest, at least the middle of March, and then turn them out for a good 2 months, and then that would have them ready for mid to end August, I would think. In the summer, at that point, we would be able to survey the summer racing scene as it's all fleshed out, and we would know where the stake trotters are going, where maybe the most susceptible open trots or backup classes are for our horses, without just throwing them in blindly and hoping that they can do. We would have a pretty good scope and idea of what is happening on the scene at every racetrack and every jurisdiction, and it made sense to me to do this. But obviously, we're going to have to look back over what took place with the 3-year-olds turning 4 and make an honest decision. Was this an error? Was this a fluke? Obviously, Yes was in New York racing on a half-mile track. I don't know what went on with him day to day, and Irv obviously did a great job with him. He won 3, 4 races, something, maybe 5 races, something like that for us, and did very, very well. And in regards to Oso Pine, I watched him train on Wednesday at Mohawk. He looked good to me. So is this, if anybody, he definitely had a taxing year. He had that issue with his curb that needed addressed. He was lame at the start of the summer. He had a horrible summer. He looked like he was rebounding a bit out in Illinois, and then when we got him back here, he just took off. So again, want to take a look at what went on. John Boutenshane has Spirited Dio. She appears to be training down great. We got a video of her yesterday. I'm pretty sure it'll be uploaded this week. She looked good again. A couple of her owners, Len and his brother, I assume, went out to Florida, went out to the training center to watch Spirited Dio train, said she looked great. Really growing, putting on weight. She needs to put more weight on. Obviously, she was a big filly to begin with. When you get those giant horses, it's tough to keep the weight on them. Angie Coleman has Olympic Hopeful training down still in Florida. I assume she looks good. I suspect that Angie will send us a video soon enough about her. Blair had raced Heavenly Skies last night, now stayed flat, 1 mile and 2.7. This was the race that Susie K had won in 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if I would say it was an effective or a good race, but we got paid, finished 4th, and it was a start. Long way to go before I would call her an effective looking horse, but at the same time, she's on the move. She's on the go. Irv doesn't have Yes now. Yes is turned out in Ohio. Now, one of our clients had said, Woodland Run, you know, is this a rehab facility? Technically it is, but when it comes to the caliber of horse we're dealing with Yes, I want the injuries a strain. Now, a strain is a thin line between a tear, a strain, a sprain, a bruise, a sprain. These are all things that happen in that hind leg. It is a suspensory, but I suspect there had been something going on there off and on for a while. It's minor, and the prognosis was great. Very good from the veterinarian. Now, Irv had said, you know, why don't we blister him, send him down to Woodland Run. That way they can shock this, ultrasound it, and keep an eye on it as we have him turned out, which is actually perfect, because then we know when we can bring him back in. He's probably going to get 90 days, which was the plan for Yes anyway. I don't want him tackling those 4-year-olds until he's 100% and ready, and certainly, you know, having him back for August, September time would be perfect. This is when he began to shine in Yonkers, in that area. Anyway, what else? So that horse is actually in Ohio at Woodland Run. Carmen doesn't have Oso Pine anymore. I took him home after his last race. We're going to get him looked at on Tuesday. He will be turned out. It's just a matter of, did he injure himself? He didn't pull up a little sore, but James said he went on the track a little sore right hind, which is notable because James trained him 2 days before for Carmen at Mohawk when we were there training other horses, and said he was fine on Wednesday. So fine on Wednesday, a little bit off right hind in the warm-up and in the post-parade on Friday. Probably something going on there. There wasn't anything visibly that we could see wrong with him. When I grabbed him up high in his hind leg, it was pinchy, but he's had issues in that curb area before. So was it a curb? Was it something else? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Doug Brown has Really Blue Chip and Arctic Forest. They've both been in 220, 225. He's in love with Arctic Forest and really likes Really Blue Chip. I think he'll really like Really Blue Chip as she continues to put weight on. He's got her putting weight on now, he said, and she looks really good. That's important. This filly was always kind of frail and small looking, and I always thought that she should be have a bigger barrel on her. So Doug has Arctic Force and Really Blue Chip both doing well. Aki Svanstedt has knocked down Drag Out now. A lot of our clients had said, did you consult Aki in the staking? Well, of course I did. I reached out to his wife, and I sent her the list of things I thought we could pay her into, and simply said, horses, without putting them on the spot, horses of similar caliber, I said. That's what I said. Horses of similar caliber, would you stake them like this? She said, looks great to me. The reason I'm talking with Aki's wife is because Aki's not a real talkative person, and he doesn't speak a lot of English, so I have his wife on Facebook. I send her messages. She sends us videos. Those videos you get from Kelly are sent through to me. So Sarah does a good job keeping up with social media and keeping us informed about knockdown drag out. Now, Richard said that Brave World should be ready mid-March. Now, one of our clients said end of April, mid-April, and I'm like, there's no possible way that it's mid to end April. I mean, he's an aged horse that had nothing wrong with him when we turned him out. He was just tired. So I spoke to Richard and Mitch. So Mitch Turney is from PEI. He took care of Brave World and PEI. He works for Richard, and he kind of takes care of Brave World. He said, yeah, mid-March he should be ready to go. So those are the smaller stables. Obviously, we started off this segment with some horrible news, but many of you probably knew already, and if you didn't, feel free to send through condolences to Andrew and Andrew's family. As it comes to the horses, everything seems to be going good on an even keel. A couple little hiccups with Yes and Oh So Pine, but for the most part, things keep rolling on. A lot of horses qualifying in the next week. We qualified 4 the other day and schooled 6. So I suspect there'll be another wave of horses qualifying on Thursday afternoon. So I'll be gone away Tuesday to Tuesday of next week. Feel free to text me or email me. I'm going to be sitting on, not on a beach. I don't like the beach. I'm from an island. I don't like the beach. I'm going to be sitting probably around a pool. But as I said to James and Curtis, who are going on the trip with me and my father and some of our other friends from horse racing, I already had a vacation this year, and I do feel like I want to go away with my friends and my brother and my family and my father especially. I do feel that I should be doing some work while I'm on vacation, so I will have my phone with me and making sure things are running smooth at the barn. So that's the smaller stables. I'll be back in a minute. We got Mario's barn, Harry's barn, Kevin's barn, Jason's barn. A number of these barns had some additions this week. We began moving some 2-year-olds down. We'll get to that in a minute. Just in case you're looking for those 2-year-olds, and maybe you're listening to this segment wondering if yours is Adrenaline Rush, Brilliant Corners, and Sunshine in May have joined the Kevin McMaster barn. Jason McGinnis received Cambridge Star and Mama Knows Best. Obviously, Mama Knows Best, an Ohio horse. That made sense to send the horse to Jason. She's doing rather well, set up pretty good. And as Jason knows, he just has to maintain her, keep the weight on her, and keep her training with us. She looked great on Saturday, as did Cambridge Star. Why Cambridge Star? He's a PA horse. I own the vast majority of Cambridge Star. He was sent here privately, and he's a small horse. To think that he's going to be a stake horse in Pennsylvania would be a stretch. He might. Who knows? You never know. But at the same time, I'm just looking for an effective 2-year-old horse that can do some good for us, that we can have some fun with, and Cambridge Star certainly fits the bill so far. In Harry's barn, we had Captain's Maid joins Harry's barn. So did Jesse Balboa and Rito Sunshine. And then Mario's barn always had the 2-year-olds. Mario's barn's a mix of the horses that I have up there. Amy and I are not me, I don't want to take any of the credit. Amy is taking care of Frilly Fringes, Won My Heart Hanover, and she takes care of Harry's White Tiger for Harry. So those horses are up there also. Mario's barn has 23, but a number of them have. What I'm trying to say is the 2-year-olds are still under me. No matter if they're in Kevin's barn, Jason's barn, Harry's barn, my barn, they're still all going in sets with us. They're still training with us, and they're still training down the same way they would if they were with us. So I'll be back in a minute and get to these 4 barns.